everyone, and welcome to the September live Plan with me. So hopefully, I'm going through all the emails. I think there's just like 50 more I have to get through, but everybody should have received a Squarespace template today if you are a member of Plan Your Pixies or if you purchase the author resource library from me in the past. And I know you're like, what is that? That was like on the Lisa London website, which hasn't even been active for, I'm going to say like 4 years, 5 years now. I just let that URL expire because I just stopped writing reverse harem romances, and it was just too much to maintain. Remember, I was cleaning up all of my URLs. Anyways, I wanted to give you a Squarespace sort of like quick tutorial with today's plan with me. So I do have screenshots, which it's kind of funny. Last month I presented for Creative Pro and I wrote an article on Canva versus Adobe Express. And the article was like overwhelmingly received with positive like accolades, and people are like, I signed up for this membership just so I can read this article. And then I presented not only the same exact information, but I did it live on like a video, and it had literally the lowest marks of anybody. People were like, oh my God, will you just shut up? They're like, you're so boring and I couldn't stand you. So, I guess people like getting information delivered in different formats and different ways. So I thought, because usually I like doing tutorials and just showing in real time, but I have instead today, I have a lot of screenshots. Plus, honestly, when you refer back to them, maybe that's easier for you. I don't know. Everybody learns differently. I like video. Some people like just the static pages, don't like hearing my voice, which I get it. Totally fine. Let's see who's here. Karen. Hey, Karen. Hey, Tasha. Hi, Adriano. All right. So let me share my slides. There we go. All right, so September, it's still hot here. Actually, it is not that bad today. It's like in the 80s, which used to be considered like hot, steamy summer weather, but now it's like nice, pleasant weather because, I don't know, global warming, it's Florida. I'm not sure what's going on, but either way, there are daily thunderstorms here. I think I mentioned this before. I don't think I realized that because there was a friend I was supposed to meet for not Pilates. It was now I forgot the word. It was a Megaformer class and it was raining. So I called her. I was like, I can't make it. It's like, it's raining. It's like, it was like that torrential downfall where it's like raining so hard you can't see anything. So anyways, I canceled on her. And then no joke, 10 minutes later, not only did it stop raining, the sun came out and it was 95 degrees that day. So I think I'm just not used to how this rain works here in Florida versus the rest of the entire country, because usually in New York, Chicago, or even California, it just rains and then the whole day is kind of dreary. Here, I don't know what's going on. It's like a 2-second rain and then it stops and it's like it never happened before. So that is something I have to get used to. So it's not a big deal now that I know. So if it rains, the other day I got stuck out in the rain and I don't really like driving on the highway in the rain. So I just hung out on the side of the road for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes and read a book. And then it was totally fine. And I drove home. So anyways, Pumpkin Everything will be here soon if it is not already. I don't really know if it's pumpkin season yet because I am not going out and about, like I said, to any of like Starbucks or coffee shops or anything because I'm very, very suburban, out in the middle of nowhere. And so it's very different, but that's good because I have not had any lattes since I moved here, which is saying a lot because it was so easy just to walk out my door before and like have it in 2 seconds. Anyways, it is a short month this month. Autumn does not officially start until September, 22nd, which means that the autumn equinox just means that the day is exactly the same time as the night in terms of like when the sun is out versus when it's dark. So I think we will start seeing that shift to shorter days, which I used to be so sad about, but now because it's so hot, I'm like, yes, just go away, sun, just go away. Make it cooler. All right. So if you are in Planner Pixies, so the new AI workshop dropped today. It is a brand challenge and is really more of a workbook versus, I would say, like AI prompts. You could always ask AI all of these questions, but I think because I dropped a website template, I thought it might be a good opportunity to just kind of decide, like, is this what I want to say? What do I want to convey out to the world? Are my colors purple, or my colors yellow or green or pink? Or, what's my personality? Do I want an icon and all of those things? Now, as you go through that as well, I would strongly suggest going to Tailor Brands. Now, Tailor Brands is old school, I'm going to say, AI prompt where it will ask you, what services do you provide? What's your mission statement? Where are you located? Do you want an icon? Do you like, new and exciting fonts? Do you like the old school ones? And then at the end, it will have a huge list of suggestions for you on different fonts that it thinks that you could utilize. So if you are just kind of stuck on what to use or what your branding or color should look like, I think this would be a good exercise to do. All right, so 2 templates dropped. If you are, like I said, if you're a member of Planner Pixies, you got the digital tools template. I thought that would just be the most appropriate one. And if you are a member of the author resource library, I gave you the author template. So in theory, that is going to be a good fit for you. So let me just do a walkthrough really quick so you can see both of those sites. Can I share my screen? I cannot share my screen. Website share. Aha! You can kind of see it. Let me try that again. Let's see. Google Chrome. There we go. That still looks weird. Is it this window? Here we go. It's very small, I know. So zoom to app windows. Oh, wait, maybe it's not that window. It's this window. Nope. Nope. That's wrong. This is Ecamm, so it works a little differently. Nope, that's wrong as well. You're like, we can't see you at all. Let's try. I guess we'll just stick with this one. All right. Sorry, it's a little small, but we'll get through it. And I don't know where my picture went. Let's see. All right, I'm back. Okay, so inside of here, let me move this to the side. You should have received an email that looks like this, that says your September template is here. Now, Squarespace, just so you know, it's not like Canva where I can just send out one link and like it works for everybody. That would be so nice. But instead, it has to be individually created because it's a website, because everyone wants their own website. So inside of here at the very bottom, you're going to get 4 different links. So this one that says access your Squarespace template, that is going to take you to your template where you can then accept the template. Now, your Squarespace account, like I said, it doesn't have to be the same email that you got that email from. That link has nothing to do with any particular email address. It's just a unique link to a template. Whether you click it or you give it to your grandmother or your friend, your neighbor, it doesn't matter. Whoever clicks that link owns that template. That's how that link works. Now, the next 3 links are if you want to learn Squarespace. So there's a workshop that's free, there's a webinar that's free, and then there's the paid course. If you recall, I had said that I had taken, I can't remember what it was, like 40 different Squarespace courses because God forbid I just pay for one. So after spending like, I don't even know, 40, 50,000. In the end, I ended up just hiring a designer. And so what's my point? Out of all of those people, the only one who was like halfway intelligent that knew what she was talking about was the workshops, the webinars, and the course that I'm recommending. So to hopefully help save you time. Now, if you were in the an author that bought the author resource library, you got this email, which is pretty much the same. And here at the bottom, it has your link as well as all of the other ones for the Squarespace courses. One came from Lisa at Pretty Fabulous Designs, and the other link came from Lisa at lisaseifert.com. So what do these look like? So in the digital product ones, you are going to have a couple different navigation things over here on the left. You're going to have your shop. You're going to have freebies. You have a blog. So you can, this is a blog layout. The whole blog feature is on the back end of Squarespace. I think it's actually a really good blog feature, and that's the one I use for lisaseifert.com. I'm Pretty Fabulous. I use the blogging feature in Podia. But that's just because I sell my digital products through that store. You have this About Us section, or not about us, about you, about section. Over here, you can change things, you can move sections around, whatever you feel like doing. And then the other thing at the top is a contact. So this is built in here too, as well as support. Follow me on Instagrams, an FAQ section, freebie section. So this is like when I look at the SEO for my site, the number one most popular clicked on page is freebies. So I built you a freebie page. There's really like a million, like they're lead magnets or list builders, whatever you call them. Everybody universally understands the word freebies and they get excited by them. So this is just a page where you can have all of your freebies displayed, and that's really how you're going to probably most likely build your list. And then obviously there's some links down below, as well as some social media links and everything else. So this is the digital products page. Now you'll notice there's a shopping cart here. So if you want to sell items directly, digital products, to your customers from your site, you can do that using the Squarespace engine, and that will use this shopping cart. If you don't want to use the embedded e-commerce functionality from Squarespace, then you can simply go ahead and turn that off, and you can have your links go to Podia, or you can have them go to Thrivecart or whatever else, whatever other tool that you use. So that is that website. Now the author website looks a little different, and this one over here is focused on someone selling books. Now, it can be fiction books, it can be nonfiction books, it doesn't really matter. But you'll notice inside of here as well, so there's links for, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever you want to link to for third parties. And at the top here, you'll notice that there is also a shopping cart. Now, if you've never used the shopping cart inside of Squarespace, it pretty much works like any other shopping cart. So this is like 4 books in here. You go to the checkout section, and then you put your email address. It also signs them up for your newsletter, delivery, payment, review, purchase, all of those things, just like a normal shopping cart. So if you are thinking, oh, I really need to use Shopify, you really don't. You could use Thrivecart. You could use Podia to sell physical books. And so anyways, my point is, if you want all that functionality, and remember I said I did a lot of research on different platforms. This is kind of why I chose Squarespace, because it could do so much. So over here, same thing, you have an about section. And these are videos. These could just as easily be images. You can change the shapes of how your video shows up. I didn't record this with a, dome on the top. I just changed the shape of where the video appears, and it was a vertical video. So you can move things around. You can take sections, copy them from one, put them on a different page. Over here, let's just go right back up to the top. You also have a contact page as well on yours. Socials, FAQs, obviously mostly for people who are probably buying things. You have your shop page where you can put all of your books for sale. You can have signed copies, whatever you want to put inside of here. You can change this 25% off banner. All of those good things are in here. And then at the top, you have 3 more tabs. You have 4. There's a Book Now tab. There's events. So if you are going to an author book signing or I don't know, who knows, maybe you're going to just a writing conference, something else where people can find you. That's all inside of here, as well as a calendar that is also inside of here for people who like having calendars. And then it can show up with whatever images you want and then information, and people can add that to their calendar. You also have your own blog page. And again, it's a blog layout. The blogs are done on the back end of Squarespace, and then you decide like how and where you want those blog posts to appear and in what order and everything else. And then the other section is a podcast. I am not a podcaster. I don't know if you know this. You can actually podcast through Squarespace. You don't have to use Apple or Spotify or River FM that everyone is using. Is it River FM? I think it's really popular. Anyways, I'm not a podcaster. I did it for like a little bit, and that was mostly my YouTube videos that I turned into podcasts. But anyways, this is all inside of here in case you wanted to start a podcast. I made a podcast page for you. Now, the Book Now page, so right now you could link that. Squarespace purchased Acuity scheduling. So Acuity scheduling is a separate third-party add-on that you can pay for and use inside of Squarespace. I say third-party, but it's because they bought it. It's very integrated, so it's easy to use. So anyways, so that is an option that you have as well. So hopefully that was helpful. And let's go ahead and go back to our regular view, which hopefully, there we go. And it works. Okay, so that is a preview of those websites. Now, if you are a Planner Pixies member, or you are a author resource library purchaser and you did not get a link, it is because of one or two reasons. One, I said there were 50 more names that had to go out. I'll finish those today or tomorrow. The second reason could be because you unsubscribed. I know. Why wouldn't you want to get my wonderful emails? So if you unsubscribe from my list because these emails are being sent from Flowdesk, I can't send you an email because you have said, I don't want your emails anymore. That's just how it goes. So if you want an email, you can drop me an email or put a comment below. Otherwise, I cannot send you that email, which I think is how the unsubscribe button works and how it's supposed to work. So that's kind of what's going on. So let's see. All right, let's keep going. About your Squarespace. Okay, so we had that. Okay, so why did I choose Squarespace? I think that's a great question we should kind of ask, because we've talked about this before, but just to kind of refresh your memory, the reason I went with Squarespace is because I used WordPress forever and I used the Divi theme. And I told all of you, I was like, it's the best ever. It's so easy. It's drag and drop. And like, life moved on and technology improved and WordPress just didn't improve. And I was so sick of I was always being hacked. And it's because it's so popular, it's so much more easily hackable. And then I had to pay for a dedicated server. And then I tried to upgrade, who my hosting was through just so I could avoid hackers. It just seemed crazy to me that I have to do all the work for that. So if you looked at platforms that are not WordPress, like within there, Squarespace has, I would say, I think the biggest market share. So that's why I went with Squarespace, and it has the ability to do so many other things too. Now, I did look at Wix and Showit, mostly because Showit is really popular just anecdotally among all of my friends. They're all using Showit. And it is easier to drag, it's kind of like Canva almost to drag and drop, so much easier to design stuff, lay things on top, put things underneath, right? But it's slow. You can't blog. I don't know why they want you to use WordPress to blog. So I was like, forget, what's the point of paying all this money? Because it's just as expensive. In fact, I think it's more expensive than Squarespace to use Showit. And now I have to pay for WordPress. And I also need a third-party plugin. And I need to do WordPress hosting. It was this is just stupid. You can't figure out blogging. That's a basic feature. Anyways, so, and everything else that it wanted to do, you pretty much needed a plugin. So, and I think the reason it's kind of popular, mostly among online female creators is because the people making these websites, it's easy for them to make these templates because they can drag and drop it with doing like minimal coding. So Wix is actually very popular. I do like Wix. It was slower, and honestly, it just felt kind of clunky, and I felt like my website looked kind of ugly, if that makes sense. Like technically it like did the drag and drop, like show it. It was pretty easy. It has other capabilities like email and e-commerce and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I was like, no matter what I do, it's ugly. Like I'm just going to have to hire someone to make this not as ugly. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah. Let's see. Tasha, I am so excited. I've been doing research on where to start with the blog. Oh, good. Yay. Sarah, Squarespace is so user-friendly. I love using it to build websites. I have built a few and it's so easy to use. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. So let's go. What else? Framer and Webflow. So I went down this rabbit hole. In fact, it's funny. I bought this course on Framer because, you know me, God forbid I don't try something new and like buy a ton of different courses. So Framer seemed like it was going to be so much easier to use, right? It's kind of like drag and drop features that Showit had, but it also had all of these other like features like blogging, and you didn't have to do a lot of plugins for that. But it was kind of expensive to do if you wanted to do e-commerce. And there weren't a lot of tutorials because it has such a tiny market share. It's like very brand new. Is that even grammatically correct? Anyways, because of that, there just aren't a lot of users. It's just not as popular. Now, if you are a hardcore web designer and you can do like serious coding, Webflow is probably the software for you. But it was so difficult to use. I like got overwhelmed every time. I thought about crying. Like it was just way too much. So if you're going to build, I would say very complex, high-end sites for corporations, Webflow is probably the way to go. So Squarespace, if you have questions on Squarespace, I created a new section inside of Heartbeat. I don't know how it works. I think you have to add yourself to, I should say it's a new section. It's a new chat or channel. I'm not sure about the terminology there, but if you want to ask me any Squarespace questions or have problems or want to give suggestions to other people, go to that part of Heartbeat. So inside of there too, today I posted the name and contact information for the guy that I use to do all of my web design. Like he's been with me since WordPress. He's been with me since Beaver Builder, I think I was using, and he did Squarespace. He fixed some of my Webflow sites. So he's like one of the smart people that just knows everything. Very affordable. The only way I know how to reach out to him is on Facebook. So I put his Facebook profile in there. You'll have to friend him on Facebook. And I feel 100% like comfortable recommending him because I've been using him for 10 years. He has the passwords literally to everything. And I've never had any issues. And he also is really good about just saying, change your password when we're done, just so you have things, so it's safe. And even when my websites went down because someone had like hacked into them, he was the one that fixed them and rebuilt them. Now, I do pay his services out of, I think he was on Upwork before. I don't know if he's billing now. You'll have to check with him directly. But yeah, so you can also obviously find your own person on Upwork or Fiverr. But sometimes it just helps because I know you're like, oh, I have to give this person all my passwords. You're like, can someone give me a recommendation? Okay, so like I said, there is a free workshop creating smart, standout Squarespace websites. There is also a link for a webinar on creating high-end Squarespace websites, as well as a course. So all of those links are below in the description for this. So how much is Squarespace? So your trial actually so if you ever sign up for Squarespace, they have a ton of like templates already in there that you can choose from. I think that's the number one reason most people go with Squarespace. So your template came with 6 months of a trial. Usually you only get 14 days, but because I am a gold partner, I honestly don't even know what that means. But because I'm a gold partner, you get 6 months with any templates that I send out to you. So you have, depending on when I send it out, because I think I made all of these last week. So it might be like 5 months and 3 weeks or something like that, or 2 weeks. But either way, you don't have to worry about panicking within the 2 weeks. You have like at least 5 months and then some to like figure out, do you like the site? Do you not like the site? What do you want to do with it? You could do nothing with it. Now, if you want to go live with your site, you do have to sign up for a Squarespace plan. So I would recommend the second tier. That's what I do. Only because the first tier, I know you're like, oh, I don't need all the fancy bells and whistles. Some of the things, honestly, on your site won't work because some of them were written with code. So the code injections will no longer work if you go with the first option. Plus, you can't upload your own fonts and colors and things like that. It's just so much better just to go with the next level. And who knows, this pricing, they change their pricing all the time. I think they probably, just like any business, are like, hey, we're not making enough money. Let's just complicate it and make like more complicated plan and pricing levels for different people. But basically, once you get to the core, the plus, and the advanced, the only difference is the percentage of sales that you give to Squarespace. So if you're doing e-commerce, and you're using like that little shopping cart natively on Squarespace, they take a percentage of your sales. And they do everything, whether you're using Stripe or PayPal, it usually is 2.9% plus like certain, I think 50 cents or something, like a small fee like that. On top of that, Squarespace will also take like 10%, 4% or something like that. So the percentage that they take goes down with each level higher that you purchase. So if you are not sure if you are going to do any sales, like me, I don't sell anything using the Squarespace shopping cart, mostly because I'm just not set up for shopping cart stuff. Like you just buy one thing, it goes through Podia or it goes through Thrivecart, and that's just what works better for me. And so I'm just on the regular 276 line. But if I was going to sell through Squarespace, I would wait until my sales were large enough where it makes the difference, where it would make sense to do the advanced, so I wouldn't have to pay the extra fee to Squarespace. So that's how that works. Now, over at the top right inside of Squarespace, you're going to hit the top three dots. You're going to go to billing, and that's where you're going to see all of these things where you can sign up live. Now, if you have multiple sites, you have to make sure, like here, this is my Lisa Seifert site. So you have to make sure to go to the site and then hit the three dots. Now, your Squarespace site right now is totally invisible. It's private. No one else can see it. If you want to show it to others, like the demo site, you can see if you enter the password demo, you are simply going to select password protected, and then people can see it. If you want to go public where anyone can see the site, that's when you'll have to actually sign up for a plan. So I hope that makes sense. Now, you don't need to. You could use you'll notice at the top, your URL says something like Parrot, Blue, 6789, like a bunch of random letters and numbers. That is a free domain that has been assigned to you from Squarespace. If you want your own domain like me, like lisaseifert.com, prettyfabulousdesigns.com, Lisa London Books, or whatever you want, you'll need to buy a domain. You don't have to buy it through Squarespace, even though you could, and then you can just integrate the two, whatever you want to do. Squarespace does charge, I will say, more than others for the annual fee. And so I right now only have the Lisa Seifert URL domain sitting over on Squarespace. And that's really honestly only because I moved it to Google Domains for I think it was like $12 at the time. And then Squarespace bought Google Domains, and now it's $20 to park your site on Squarespace. So I'm not advocating that you should do it. There's no advantage, I don't think, to being on Squarespace than being on Bluehost or anything else. But there was, at the time, being on Google, there was an advantage then. It's unfortunate that they sold the domain parking service or whatever you call it. Anyways, you will notice inside of there that I am the owner of your website. I do not want to be the owner of your website. That's just how it works when I create a website. Anytime you get a template, you're an administrator. And then once you click the invite, so I can't see where it says transfer ownership. I can transfer the ownership of your site to you once you accept the admin. So at the end of the month, I will go through before our October 1, and I will look at everybody who has accepted the invite for your website. I will just transfer the ownership to you. Anybody who has not accepted the invite by September 30th, I'll just assume you don't want the site or you don't care if you didn't accept the invite, and then that'll be it. You can send me a note afterwards and say, hey, it's, I don't know, November 14th. Can you transfer the ownership? And I'll look up your site and transfer it then. But that's how that works. Don't worry, I won't be on there permanently. But this is also a great way too, where it says invite contributors. So like I was saying, if you want to invite someone from Fiverr or from Upwork to work on your website, it's very easy to do it here. And actually, it's much safer than doing it on WordPress. You can just add them here, and then you as the owner can just take away their admin privileges whenever you feel like. Now, like I said, there's a brand challenge today. So what I would do is fill out that workbook, find your logo, find your colors, find your fonts, and then start playing around with the website to decide what you want to do. Talisha, oh, that is huge to use for someone that long. Yeah, it's hard to trust people with that kind of info. Yeah, it's scary, right? You're like, they're asking for passwords and access to things, and you're like, I don't know. Who are you? Okay, so a couple basic things on how to get set up on your Squarespace site is setting up a favicon. You can set up a favicon inside Canva. You do need Canva Pro. It should only be like 180 by 180. It should be a square. And just remember, simpler is better. So a big circle is better than a bunch of little dots. Nobody can see them. Even when you're designing it in Canva, you're like, oh, all these little dots look so cute. But you'll notice the favicon in your tab browser. If you're like, especially if you're like me, you have like maybe, I don't know, 80 tabs open. And so you're like, well, no one is going to be able to see that. I know it's kind of hot in here. Anyways, once you have that, download it, make sure it's transparent. And again, you can't make it transparent unless you have Canva Pro. Otherwise, it's going to put a background on it. So I don't know what you could do other than, I guess, removing the background. No, even if you remove the background, it won't download it as transparent. So I don't know. Anyways, maybe I think there's some services out there you could just go into a free website and have it remove the background for you. The other thing is over here, in Squarespace, you're going to upload to Squarespace, hit the gear icon at the bottom right of your website, and then find favicon, and then you can upload it there. And it takes like a minute to upload. You're going to be like, why isn't it upload? It takes like, I don't know, I would say 10, 20 minutes. So if it's not there automatically, don't freak out. It just takes a while. Okay. Let's go through that. Your Instagram feed, very easy. So I won't go through all of these to bore you, but you can go and refer back to these. On your page, you will have to just go to add a section, add a block. I put screenshots in here on how to add Instagram. Flowdesk, let's talk about email marketing really quick because Squarespace has email marketing embedded in there. I highly recommend Flowdesk. I know the whole world is moving to Substack. And I think if you are someone who doesn't have a blog set up, this could be a good idea. Or if you think like your emails could be a blog, my emails are just kind of like a communication. I don't know that I've said anything thought-provoking that you should keep it forever, but because of that, I'm not really it. Plus, I honestly just think Substack looks hideous. However, so many people are using it now. I think it's just kind of becoming the norm. And there's cute things you can do. Like Courtney and Emmy Lynn both have set up where it's like basically their website. So again, it's personal preference. Squarespace has email marketing built in there. I would highly recommend not using it. It looks like it's free so you'll see it over here on the left. I showed you where to find email. It's called email campaigns. But like for me, it has unlimited context. You're like, oh my God, this sounds so cheap, right? Because I have like 37,000 people on my mailing list. So every provider charges based on how many people on your mailing list. So it was getting really expensive. But you can only send a certain number of emails per month. So if I want to email my list twice in 1 month, I'll have to pay $42. If I want to email them 3 times in 1 month, then I'm going to have to pay for another tier. So it just seems a little nutty to me to do that. So I would highly recommend Flowdesk because you can have unlimited contacts and unlimited emails. I could email my list like 100 times a day. I would never do that, but you could email them 100 times a day and it doesn't matter. They're not going to charge me anything extra. And it's prettier. So here are directions on how to set up a new segment inside of Flowdesk, how to set up a form, and how to embed that form onto your website. Email addresses. Okay, so don't get confused. Email marketing is your list that you send a newsletter to or do autoresponders or nurture welcome sequence. Email address is just an email address that you use. So like for me, it's lisa@lisaseiffert.com. So how did I get that email once you buy a domain? So a couple different ways. One is you can sign up through Google Workspace. That's $8 per month. And that's usually, I said that's a different method, but inside of Squarespace, when you buy a domain or even Bluehost or any of them, they'll have an option and they'll say, do you want to sign up for Google Workspace with this email address? And it's always the exact same price. None of them do a markup as far as I know, except maybe GoDaddy. I feel like they're always doing like just everything's just more expensive there for some reason. Anyways, option 2 is you can create an email forwarding rule. So in Bluehost, I know you can do this, Squarespace, you can do this, and this is absolutely free. So all of the emails, you can tell people my email is lisa@lisaseiffert.com, and you don't have to pay the $8 per month, and it'll come to whatever, like I could have it come to lisa@prettyfabulousdesigns.com. It doesn't matter. The only problem is I can't email you from lisa@lisaseiffert.com. I can only receive email from that address. So that's the only downside of not paying for Google Workspace. So this is how to set it up inside of Squarespace if your domain is parked there. Now, if you do what I do, which I signed up for Google Workspace directly, and remember that's again because my domain was sitting on Google domains before Squarespace purchased it. So if that is the case, inside of Gmail at the top right, when you hit that square sort of, I don't know what it's called, like, but the thing with all the dots, your gear icon, or your settings icon, you're going to see this admin feature, and that's only if you purchased directly through Google Workspace. So that's a wrap on everything to get you started, hopefully, and get up and running with Squarespace. There's a ton of free tutorials out there everywhere. And again, I've been sitting on this template for 2 years. Both of these templates for at least 2 years, because I was waiting till I had everything perfect for like a Squarespace course. And then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to send them out and people will figure it out themselves. It's not that hard to use, and I am not the end all be all anyway of knowing everything. So, anyways, if you have questions, just let me know. I am here to help, but I'm not going to be creating a course. So let's talk about what we're supposed to talk about, which is what's happening in the month of September. So as usual, I haven't changed anything. My word of the month is still action, which has been pretty much my word of the year. I have mantras to go with it. I have quotes to go with it. I have my habits. Nothing's changed. Still no caffeine. Like I said, it would be difficult for me to even drive somewhere to get some. Sugar. I've actually decided that I really like the chocolate shakes at Potbelly, so I get those at least once a month. So that's kind of like my new thing. Still doing the 10K runs on Saturday. Still doing cardio sword fighting on Sundays. And I failed again. So I'm calling it a fail, but it was very close. It was like, I'm 135.8 last month, and I'm 135.4 this month. So I'm trying to stay under 135. So that's why I'm calling it a fail, but I don't know that's that big of a fail. And honestly, I don't think I even cared because I pretty much just only focused on writing this month. So there's that. Also, I can't remember, someone asked me, why don't you just do Ozempic? Because I'm always talking about like my weight every month. And there's nothing wrong with it. I don't look down on it. I don't think people are weak or being lazy or anything rude like that. I think everyone should decide for themselves what they want to do. I noticed, so remember I had the Funnel Gorgeous, the FG Society certification, and I don't follow Kathy, but I noticed, I think because someone, you know how it is, as soon as someone asks you about something or messages you, somehow Facebook knows and Instagram knows. So I was getting a notification. She has a paid course. So I guess Kathy lost, and again, because I don't follow her, I guess she started this in 2023, and then over the last 2 years, she lost over 100 pounds. So everyone was asking her because they can see her pictures, hey, how'd you lose all the weight? And so she had created I think it's a $50 workshop where you can just ask her about her experience with Ozempic. And she talks about how to titrate down and all those other things and what to eat. So if you're interested, that might be something useful. Also, I'm not opposed to it. I would try it if it didn't have nausea. So as you know, when I have, or maybe you don't know, I have anxiety and panic attacks. And like most people have, like, feel like they're getting a heart attack. And I've never, ever had that, mostly because I do a lot of cardio. So I'm not really afraid of a high heart rate. I could care less how high my heart rate is. I am afraid of throwing up and nausea. And so I'm always nauseous whenever I have anxiety or a panic attack. And so anyways, everything I've ever tried always gives me nausea. And I know for a fact that Ozempic has like a huge number of people with nausea. It's so bad that people are like in the emergency room. So I would like to avoid that at all costs. So that's another reason I would probably never do Ozempic. And not because I think down on it, just because of the nausea factor. But I have tried things in the past. I did Hydroxycut back in the 90s. It had Mawong in it, caffeine, and aspirin, and that was like the trifecta of helping you lose weight. And mostly it just made me kind of hot. And then lecithin, for some reason in the 90s, and this is obviously before the internet, everyone was saying lecithin is going to take the fat you eat and just emulsify. Remember, it was like, it will just liquidate it and then it will just leave your body. And it did not do any of those. I did not lose any weight at all. I think I just wasted money on those pills. And I remember my cousin was like, it was my cousin or somebody else. She was like, why don't you just, drink a lot of coffee and take up cigarette smoking? And that was pretty much the only advice you got in the 90s. So anyways, now I feel like everyone is just trying to avoid eating, whether it's through intermittent fasting, which, as you know, I did try, didn't work. I ended up gaining weight because I was like so starving and fixated on like food all the time. You could just do the other thing as well. Oh, another GLP Pro user is, as you know, I do follow her. I follow pretty much, I think, everybody on the Mormon Housewives show, or I guess it's called Secret Lives show. But anyways, she is super open about like what she uses and how she titrates down and everything else. And hers is just free. I don't know if she answers DMs, probably not because she's so famous now, but that's just another person in case that was something you were interested in. And that's it. Okay, so hot flashes. I'm not having a hot flash. It's just hot in my office. But anyways, it's been 2 months so far. I had one the other day, but it was very minor. And it was not as bad as like the 3-day, like leading up to it, flu-like symptom I had the first time in June. So this one lasted for like just a couple hours, the flu feeling, and then the hot flash was gone pretty quick. So I am actually going to increase my estrogen patch. So 0.05 is like, I think they say the baseline beginning starting. So I'm going to do 0.07 starting next month, whenever that gets here. So fingers crossed that helps get rid of them entirely. And then I just want to say too, how I feel like every time you go for health advice, no matter what it is, everyone's like, you should exercise. Like I remember getting like viscerally angry when people were like, oh, you're having cramps? Why don't you try exercising? You know what? Exercise doesn't fix cramps. It just, I don't even know what you're talking about. I think people just look at others and they're just like, you should be exercising. If you're not, all the health problems you have are your fault. I did that morning before that hot flash, I did a 10K run. And the day before, I work out every single day. And the week before that, I was working out. Molly was back in town, so we were walking. So I was doing 2 workouts a day. So there is no truth at all to walking will help stop hot flashes. That's just, I think, total BS, in my opinion. So anyways, let's move on to books. So I barely did anything this month. I barely watched any TV or did any writing because I was so busy, or any reading or movies, or because I was so busy writing. But I read The Butcher by Penelope Skye, which I have never ever been into mafia romance. I don't even know how this came up. I think obviously like everybody else, I just saw the cover and I was like, well, clearly this must be a good book because the guy in the cover is super hot. Anyways, it was so good. I could not put it down. I was like up all night. In fact, I was talking to my friend Lauren. I was like, you have to read this book. It's so good. We were talking about the Book Talk books and how like we were all reading these books that are so popular in Book Talk. And we were like, I don't know if I really liked it that much. Anyways, I am totally into mafia romance now. That is like all that I'm reading. It's on my Kindle and they're pretty much all in KU. So that helps as well. What else? Oh, yeah, Western romance. I don't have anything against it. I just couldn't get into it. It's also like very TikTok famous. I also read this Done and Dusted. It was okay, but it's not like do it for me as much as the mafia romance, which is like now my new things. Anyways, I just posted these up here. I got this email. Melody does really cute covers. So if you're thinking about doing a mafia romance, or I think I even saw, I can't remember her name. She's very, very famous. So famous. I'm just blanking out her name. Tanya Capps. She wrote a Western romance cozy mystery even. And it has one of these kind of cute, like one of those Lila Sage like covers. But I think that might be a new trend. I feel like that's something you're into and are excited about. This could be a good time to get into it. Anyways, Melody has some covers on pre-made covers that are Westerns. So just pointing that out. Oh, this was such a good movie. I saw this on Netflix and it's so weird because I hated the book. Like I was so bored. I couldn't understand what was going on. It was like all over the place. But the movie was so well done. I don't know. Maybe I should go back and read the book. I'm not going to go back and read the book. I have so many other books I want to read. But I just thought I would mention that. It was really cute. In fact, I loved this movie so much that I totally changed the plot for book 6 in my cupcake series, where I was going to write about a cupcake contest. But I have since changed that. And now I'm going to be writing about people at a 55 plus retirement center because it just seemed like such a cute environment. All right, let's talk about the month. So like I said, I did so much writing this month. It was like pretty much all I did. And then there were some book issues. So we'll talk about that too. My daily average was 8.21. Like there were, I want to say like a good 2 or 3 weeks where I did nothing. Like I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't text anyone. I didn't go on social media. Like nothing was wasted. Like I had no idea what was going on, except I worked out and I ate meals, and that was it. Otherwise, all I did was work from like the morning into the night. And that was really tough because that was kind of like, I felt like I was back in med school where there was no time to do anything because you needed every single spare second to just study. And that was kind of what happened. So here's what happened. I tried a new developmental editor to save some money, which was a huge mistake. I basically just said yes. And I didn't think about like, who is this? One, didn't even ask. I didn't ask for a sample. I didn't check to see if they specialize in this or if they've done any other things. They had not read any of my other books. Anyways, it was just not a good experience. And plus when I do a developmental, I get like a manuscript letter, and I didn't get a letter. She just put like, comments, change this, change that. And I was like, I don't really want to change this because, whatever reason. She's like, no, it was like her way or the highway. She's like, you need to change it now. And so I was like, okay, I'll change it. Because conflict, so the Clifton Strengths, conflict is, our harmony is my number 2, which means I hate conflict of all types, like every kind. So when she tells me to do something because I don't like conflict, I was like, okay, I'll do it, even though I totally disagree. I think this is wrong. And the book now sucks because I'm just too afraid to say anything. So anyways, the book goes through, I just let it go. And, the publisher like proofreads it. And finally, the very last minute before it's about to go live, the editor's like, you're missing a chapter. I was like, what do you mean I'm missing a chapter? She's like, it just goes from chapter 31 to chapter 33. And I was like, well, that's odd. How could that have happened? And then I read through and I finally because I was so avoiding rereading the book. I was like, this is such an awful experience. I'm just going to try to forget about it and move on with my life. I was like, this is an awful book. I was like, I have to send this to my regular developmental editor and just start from scratch. So that's what happened. I sent it back to my regular developmental editor who's read all of the other books in the series. And yeah, it was so much better. So here are just some lessons learned. Make sure to go through, do your due diligence, all of those things, especially if you're like me and you just don't like conflict. Try to do all those things ahead of time so you avoid a situation like this. But I will say 2 things. One, I did learn from her because she was new to the series. She's like, you need to put first and last name anytime you introduce a new character. That was a great suggestion. So I did add that. And then also, I changed the story completely. It has a totally new victim, a totally new killer, and I think it's going to be 1,000 times better. So I do feel good about this book. Very excited for everyone to read Candy Canes and Crimes when it comes out in October. I Don't worry, I'll remind you. Also, so AutoCrit has free writing challenges. You don't have to be a customer of AutoCrit. I actually don't know. So they just finished their summer 90-day wrap up. I really liked it mostly because I think her name's Catherine or Kat. She will send you daily emails, like a little pep speech, a little thing about craft or something else. And then she also will send you text messages once in a while based on whether you join Team Pantser, Team Plotter, or Team Plancer. And then at the end, you can enter your story to win a free critique. I have no idea who does a critique. It really doesn't matter. It was just fun to do. So if you also were like, I kind of miss the daily motivation of NaNoWriMo, I would say this is a very good alternative, and it's a positive experience. So anyways, I did return the HomePod. I was so excited for it. Remember, I was complaining, my soundbar sucks. This is going to be so much better. Actually, my soundbar is not sucky. The HomePod was sucky. Like there was a time delay, like you'd see people speaking, and then by the time the sound came out, it was like a full, I don't know, hour later. I'm exaggerating, but it was awful. And then sometimes it couldn't even connect. I was like, why am I buying something in the Apple ecosystem if it can't find itself? So I returned it. I did look online. A ton of other people complained about that too. I was surprised because in the reviews for the HomePod Mini, people didn't complain about that. Anyways, there's another Apple event coming out, so I will be trying the new HomePod Mini if they come out with a new one, only because it does help. Like my desk is so cluttered right now, I know you can't say, with like stuff, and the cat is always walking back and forth. So I did like having the HomePod because I was able to get rid of that big, huge sound bar and just have that little mini, the mini pod. So there is that. Oops. All right. What did I do? So I did finish my time travel romance book. It is done. I sent it off to, what do I call them? Author Buddy. That's done. Honestly, I feel like I did a rewrite of the Candy Canes book. I think I recycled maybe 20% of the book, but the rest of it is all totally brand new. So it was a very writing intense month. And then this month, September, on the 22nd, Buttercream and Bullets is due. And like I said, it's going to be like a massive dash to get that draft into my editor, only because I decided to change it because I loved the Thursday Murder Club so much. I just wanted to model it after that kind of setting. So October, November, December, I'm not even thinking about them right now. I put the little skull guy there because I was like, I like mafia romance so much. Maybe I will just take a break for October and just write a mafia romance for fun. See where that goes. So even though I'm not writing romance anymore, but I just really love those books. Anyways, so this is September's goal. What else is going on? We're at the end. How long have I been talking? I've been talking for an hour. So Amazon First Reads, because I've been so into romance lately, I did do the romance pick for the month. And honestly, I just absolutely hate psychological thrillers. And for some reason, there were two. I know the whole world loves psychological thrillers. Those were a hard no for me. Or actually, there's three. There's three psychological thrillers. I don't know what's going on. And I did change Everand. So usually before you could only get 3 books per month, but now they changed it. You can get 5. Very exciting. So I changed it to, I got Nora Goes Off Script. This is actually available through the library, but it's so popular. I think I'm like, it's been 30 weeks that I've been waiting. And then it says it's going to be another 26. I was like, I'll just buy it. So I chose that. Story Genius by Lisa Crone. I just thought it'd be good to have like a nice craft book once in a while. The Golden Spoon, that is what was that plot about? I don't even remember. It looked interesting at the time. It's a British mystery. The Matchmaker, same thing. It wasn't actually available at the library. I just like Matchmaker books in general. Just looked fun. It was like a murder mystery. And then Bury Our Bones, Midnight Song. So V. Schwab, I love her time travel books. So this is one where there is, again, someone who's immortal, and then she falls in love. It's kind of like almost like the time traveler's wife, because she falls in love with someone who can travel through time. So even though he like just saw her yesterday, for her it's been like, say, 100 years. I'm not sure how his time travel works. I haven't started it yet, but I do love time travel books. And September, I have nothing planned except writing. Lucky's birthday is in 2 weeks. I don't think he really cares. He's going to be 6. And that's pretty much my only deadline. And don't forget to look out for your Squarespace template. Did anyone say anything? They are awful. Oh, we were talking about them. We were talking about, I think, Hydroxycut. And I don't know if anyone remembers, amphetamines were like the only way you could do an appetite suppressant back in the 90s. Hence, I think there was that product Fen-Phen that got taken off the market because they were amphetamines. Nothing like having a power surge. Yes, all the writing. Too many side effects. I am a natural, learning to love my body and just doing what makes my body happy. That's way safer. I don't think there are any long-term negative effects from GLP, but who knows, right? Like at the time, we thought amphetamines were fine. Who knows? It's probably the smarter thing to do. Me too. Never lost any weight from those. I know, like I thought, I was so hopeful. I was like popping those pills all the time. I don't know if they made me nauseous. They might have. It's been so long, but you know, at the time in my 20s, I was like, whatever. I feel like you're just more resilient to all bad things back in your 20s. Thank you for sharing these. I am on the same page. Yeah, I know. I just want to make sure because I think, what's her name? Kathy Olson. So she got so much slack for trying GLP-1s and Ozempic, and people were so judgy. And I just feel like that's really mean. Like everybody's different. And like, I think, you know, when antidepressants came out, people were kind of like, can't you just be happy? Right. And it was just kind of like, you know, everybody's different and we all need different things to like get by. I mean, I definitely need the hormone replacement therapy. And I also have like so many issues with panic attacks. And so it's a struggle sometimes. Tasha, I hate conflict also. Yeah. I was just too afraid to say anything to her. Tasha, not at all. Yeah, it's kind of funny because the editor was like, why didn't you say something earlier? I'm like, because I'm a big chicken. That's why. Tasha's so excited for your new book. Yeah, it's going to be so much better. I'm like so glad that missing chapter was there because I might not have said anything. I went to see it. I haven't read that book. Story. So I so admire your writing discipline and output. I struggled to write the few words I wrote last month. You know, honestly, I struggled, remember, for, I don't know, like 8 years. I barely wrote anything. So it is only because I am lucky enough to like just be in a state of a situation where I can write. Last night, I have just finished for the first time a manuscript. Yay. Good job, Adriano, sorry. I have been writing and rewriting for many years. Don't even know how I feel about that. That's okay. It happens to all of us. I have a friend that I write with every other Friday, and she has been working on the same book, writing and rewriting it for, I'm going to say 10 years. 10 years we've been writing together. She's been rewriting and rewriting it. So it happens. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Talisha. Okay, I hope everyone's having a wonderful and fabulous day. And I will see everybody next month.